When we're in a loving relationship, we really want to be our best for our partner. That includes being really good lovers. So we could be wanting to be good lovers just because we really enjoy it when they enjoy themselves. It pleases us when they are pleased. We could also feel a bit of fear that if we're not good enough lovers, then they might look sideways and they might wanting to enhance their sexual experience elsewhere. And this is why sometimes we come to have sex not because we want to just please ourselves, but mainly because we want to please our partner, mainly because we want them to have a good time. This is where sex is starting to become a chore. It's when we don't really do it for our own pleasure, but we do it mainly for our partner's pleasure. So first I want to acknowledge that wanting to please your partner is a really great thing. It means you care for them, it means you care for their relationship. However, there is a catch. If most of the time the reason that you have sex with your partner is to please them instead of to enjoy it yourself, it might diminish their relationship as a whole. And although part of the reasons that you do it is in order for them to enjoy themselves, their enjoyment is not going to be fully satisfying unless you're also fully there with them. There's a world of difference between every now and then having sex just in order to make sure that your partner is pleased and ongoingly having sex with them just because you know they need to have sex and you want to get them off your back. So if you have sex ongoingly, regularly, just in order to please your partner and you're not taking care of your own pleasure, that's when things might get pear-shaped. And that's when sex is becoming a chore, something you need to tick off your to-do list. I also want to acknowledge that long-term relationships have lots of phases in them. And it's quite normal, it's quite healthy to have phases in which you're too busy or you have too many things on your to-do list or you have, say, young children that you need to attend to, and sex is not your highest priority. It's very common, it's very natural, and it is healthy. However, if you're still going to have sex during those times, even though you might not feel like it, or maybe your libido is quite low, this is when you're actually risking damaging your relationship. So you need to be quite cautious. Now again, if you do have sex with your partner every now and then without fully enjoying it, without fully being there, that's again very, very normal. It's the problem, it becomes a problem when you're doing it on an ongoing basis. Now you might think you're doing a good thing. Your partner wants sex and you give it to him. But your partner actually doesn't just want sex. The main reason your partner wants to have sex is because they want to connect with you. And when you're having sex just in order to please them, you're not fully connecting with them. You're not fully present with them. So even though they might not register it consciously, immediately, maybe not even ever, somewhere in their subconscious mind, they will understand and they will feel it and they will acknowledge that they're not fully satisfied. The sex that you're giving them might be pleasurable, might be sensational, but it's not fully fulfilling. That's not what they're really seeking from you. The good news is that you can change things around. But in order to do that, we need to look a little bit at our priorities. So to maintain a healthy relationship, we want to make sure that the connection to our partner is one of the top priorities. Now, that doesn't mean we have to have sex. So, as I said, some different life circumstances or life phases would mean that you are not fully able to be there while having sex, that you want to have sex, and that's totally normal. But wanting to maintain a strong connection with your partner needs to stay on the priority list. So how do you maintain that connection? That could be making sure that you have a few minutes for a heart-to-heart talk every evening or every second evening. Highly recommended a lot of affectionate touches. They don't have to lead to sex, but they do have to communicate, hey, I'm here for you, and I'm still your partner, I'm still your loving partner, and I still want to connect with you. Another way of doing it, which sounds almost impossible, and I acknowledge that, is actually getting back some me time. One of the issues when we're starting to see sex as a chore is that when we do a lot of things for other people, especially if we are parents, especially if our children are still young, then we need to provide for them. We do a lot of things just for them. And then we really don't have time for ourselves. And sex again becomes the chore. But if we are able to steal a few minutes every day just for ourselves, just to do something that fulfills us in some level or another, that could create that space inside ourselves to bring our libido back, to bring our sexuality back into the front line. The last thing I wanted to mention on this regard is to explain a little bit about frequency. So many people have this belief that they need to have a lot of sex, or to have sex very frequently, every day, twice a day, maybe every second day. And for many people, this is actually not feasible. You know, we really do have busy lives and a busy schedule, and having sex very often is just not going to happen. And many people think that this is why they're not satisfied with their sex life. And I want to explain that it's not necessarily about frequency. It is really more about quality. So even if you have sex only once a week, but you make that experience very connecting and very special, not just a quickie, not just a little, oh, let's just do it just before we go to bed, just before we fall asleep. It needs to be something that you give more attention to. So like a sex date, you plan it, you make it very, very special in different levels. That will be much more fulfilling than potentially having sex a few times a week but not fully being present there. If you want more information about what fully satisfying sex is and what a lifetime of fulfilling sex looks like, head on to my website, makeloverevolution.com, and grab your free e-course that will teach you everything you need to know about wholehearted sex.